Welcome to another episode of the Akeem Adisa Show, Maximum Momentum, where success is the engine that drives every discussion. Today, I want to deliver a message that could change the way you live from this day forward. It's a message that will ignite your drive, build unstoppable momentum, unleash the warrior mindset, and achieve extraordinary results. My name is Akeem Adisa, and I am your host. Let's get straight to it. Today's question is, what's really stopping you from building the life you want? Is it your circumstances or your excuses? What is really stopping you from building the life you want? This question actually formulates the title of this episode. No excuses. Build the life you want. Let me repeat that again. No excuses. Build the life you want. We all face challenges. No one is going to escape that. The challenge of money, time, energy, and doubt. But the truth is, excuses drain potential faster than any circumstances ever could. In this episode, we are going to break the chain of excuses using my success formula. My success formula is the intentional, covalent combination of clarified, strategize, execute, energize, and adapt. Those 5 powerful elements are covalently combined to create my success formula. Each of those elements depends on each other. Unfortunately, excuses attack every element of this formula. Excuses will destroy clarity, will block strategy, up execution, drains energy, and also eliminate adaptation. So today, we are going on a journey to remove every single excuses in our daily life. We are going to remove them one by one, every single excuses. And that is the journey we're going on today in this episode, to remove every single excuses in our daily life. But before we proceed deeply, let's define circumstances and excuses clearly. Let's explore their significant meaning. Circumstances are the real external condition we face. It's external. It's all external. For example, our finances, our environment, our health, our current season of life. Those are the external conditions that we face. On the other hand, excuses are all internal. These are the internal justifications we create to stay comfortable. We often confuse the two. A tough circumstances becomes a permanent excuse, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I want you to remember this. Excuses are the nails used to build the house of failure. Excuses are the nails used to build the house of failure. When you take ownership, you change from blaming to building. When you take ownership, it means that you are eliminating all excuses. So therefore, when you take ownership, you reclaim your power. When you take ownership, you are transforming potential energy to kinetic energy. You're actually transforming potential energy to kinetic energy. When you take ownership, you are maximizing your momentum. When you take ownership, You are winning every single day. There's no way around it. You will win every single day when you're taking ownership. And when you take ownership, you are turning ideas into greatness for many generations to come. There is power in taking ownership. I want to take this opportunity to personally thank you for joining me on the Akeem Adisa Show, Maximum Momentum. It's truly an honor and a privilege to have you be part of this growing movement and platform dedicated to empowerment, growth, and transformation. Your support means everything. Please subscribe, like, share, and follow the show across all platforms. The goal is to reach 1 million followers and subscribers by January 30th, 2026. You can stay connected and inspired by following me on Instagram, Twitter X, TikTok, and Facebook at Akeem Adisa Show, or click on the link in the description box. Watch and listen anytime on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Podcaster, and Pocket Casts. Together, we'll continue to push forward, grow stronger, and build maximum momentum. One episode, one action, and one victory at a time. Thank you. The moment you say, it's on me, you reclaim your power. The moment you say it's on me, you reclaim your power. It means that there's no more excuses and no more circumstances that's holding you backwards. Now let's dig into 7 questions. Let's explore 7 questions that will expose the excuses that we might be living with, and we're going to replace them with action. We are going to replace every potential excuses with action. And that's the journey that we are going to be going on in this episode. The first question that we are going to explore today is there clarity about what is truly wanted? Or is I don't know just a fear in disguise? When clarity is absent, confusion fills the space. Confusion feeds hesitation, and hesitation creates excuses. Confusion feeds hesitation, and hesitation creates excuses. I don't know is one of those, it's one of the most socially accepted excuses in existence. But I don't know sounds thoughtful, even humble, but it often disguises fear, the fear of failure, or the fear of judgment, or the fear of commitment. That's what he does. So staying in I don't know feels safe because it avoids accountability. It avoids accountability. But clarity isn't a gift granted by circumstances. It's a decision created through motion. Clarity is a decision created through motion. Waiting for clarity is waiting for permission. But progress never waits. The longer uncertainty is entertained, the more opportunity fades quietly in the background. The more the opportunity will just pass us by. So clarity creates direction. Clarity creates direction. Direction generates momentum, and momentum destroys excuses. So clarity creates direction. Direction generates momentum, and momentum destroys excuses. The most successful leaders, the creators, directors, teachers in the classroom, and engineers, they don't start with all the answers. They don't. They start with one honest decision to define what they truly want. We'll talk about some of the most successful teachers, most successful doctors, most successful engineers. They do not start with all the answer. And even an imperfect clarity creates moments. And that movement, any type of movement, will reveal mastery. It will reveal mastery. So when we look at the question, is there clarity about what's truly wanted, or is, I don't know, just fear in disguise? This aligns with clarity, the first element of my success formula. Every other element, strategize, execute, energize, and adapt, all depends on clarified. They all depends on clarified. So therefore, defining clarity gives focus its targets. Without clarity, strategy has no blueprint, execution has no order, energy has no aim, adaptation has no foundation. Clarity is the ignition that activates everything else. Clarity is the activational energy that activates everything else. Let's take a look at transforming every I don't know statement to what I want is. Think about it. Now you transform I don't know to what I want is. So this is what I do. Each day I write one clear sentence that begin with what I want is. I write this with no edit, no hesitation, just truth on paper. Just the truth on paper, not analysis. Each sentence becomes a compass for the day ahead. Each sentence of what I want is become a compass for the day ahead. For example, what I want is to build a life where work, health, purpose align so that every day feels meaningful and energized. What I want is become an action statement. Look at that transformation from I don't know to what I want is. Another example, what I want is to inspire others to see themselves as an innovator or problem solvers. That's one example. Another example, what I want is to launch the next podcast episode with conviction and creative clarity. I'll give you another example. What I want is to remain disciplined in fitness and nutrition to sustain lasting energy and focus. What I want is to remain disciplined in fitness and nutrition to sustain lasting energy focus. Another example. What I want is to make lemonade out of lemon every part of my journey. What I want is to make lemonade out of lemon every part of my journey. This practice transforms thoughts into direction. It transforms thoughts into direction. Each line written is a declaration. It's a declaration, a small art of creation. The encouragement is this, everyone. And encouragement is simple. Stop hiding behind, I don't know. Stop hiding behind, I don't know. Replace indecision with intention. Begin the day by writing what I want is. And let that clarity become the catalyst for motion. We're going to make sure we make clarity the catalyst for motion. Because clarity isn't found. No, it's not found. Clarity is created. Question Number 2, is fear of failure bigger than the desire to win? Fear of failure bigger than the desire to win? Excuses often sound logical. It often sounds logical, but are rooted in fear. That's what it is. The excuses, they sound logical, but they are rooted in fear. The fear will whisper, don't try it. Courage responds, try and learn. Do you see the difference? Fear will tell you, don't do it. But the courage will tell you, go for it. You can do it. Learn from it. Do you see the difference? So the fear disguises itself as logic. It whispers messages like, now isn't the time. Another message as, more experience is needed first. This is what fear will whisper to us. But yet, fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal of being close to the edge of growth. It's a signal of being close to the edge of growth, the edge of success, and the edge of momentum. The moment fear of failure outweighs the hunger to grow or the hunger to develop, evolution will decline. The vision fades and creativity will collapse. Those who win view fear differently. Every winners view fear differently. They recognize it as an internal compass pointing toward the next level of potential. Pointing toward the next level of potential. Winners are always in a daily adventure of rising above fear. That's what winners do. For winners, the hunger to exponential growth is so much larger than any moment of fear of failure. This aligns perfectly with strategize in my success formula. Fear, we want to freeze strategize. Fear, seek to freeze strategize. When fear dominates, innovation dies in the presence of doubt. The antidote to fear is curiosity. Remember that. The antidote to fear is curiosity. Curiosity converts fear into learning by asking the following question. This is what curiosity will do. What could be discovered by trying? That's the question. What could be discovered by trying? That question rewires the mind from protection to progress. It rewired the mind from protection to progress, from surviving to strategizing, from surviving to strategizing. So whenever you are listening, wherever you are listening and watching from, wherever you're listening and watching from, always remember that each setback became a study guide rather than a sentence. That's what it is. Each setback became a study guide rather than a sentence. So writing one or two key insights after a misstep will turn your discouragement into direction. This habit builds momentum and not through perfection, but through pattern recognition. The invitation is simple. Treat fear as information. That's it. You're going to treat fear as an information. Write down, this is a question, write down what the fear is teaching you, not what is threatening you. What is the fear teaching you? Focus on what that is. The desire to win must always be louder than the fear of falling. The desire to win must always be louder than the fear of falling, because progress doesn't belong to the fearless. It belongs to the courageous. It belongs to the courageous. Question number 3. Is it really a lack of time, or just a matter of priority? Is it really a lack of time or just a matter of priority? Time isn't missing, it's mismanaged. When someone says, I don't have time, what they are really saying is, it's not a priority. When they say to you, I don't have time, what they're really saying is, this is not a priority. Every person, every living thing receives the same 24 hours, but yet the outcomes differ dramatically. The difference isn't in time, the difference is in focus. Time reveals our true value, the things we choose, or the things that we honor, or the things that we return to. But excuses hide behind busyness. It will hide behind those endless scrolling on social media, unnecessary meetings, and constant distraction disguised as productivity. But when everything matters, nothing truly does, the question will change from is there time to what is being traded for it? What is being traded for it? Energy follows attention, and attention, when diffuses, weakens impact. Those who master their priority master their results. Purposeful living isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, deeply and deliberately. That's what it's about. You make every action meaningful, intentionally. Unfortunately, excuses is always there to attack execute. Execute, the engine of my success formula. Excuses is always there to attack execute. Without priorities, execution becomes noise. Noise is a cloud of movement without meaning. That's what it's about. It's a cloud of movement without meaning. Clarity defines what must be done. Strategy explains how to do it. But execution demands presence. Execution demands action. Outcomes appear not through intention, but through aligned action repeated consistently. How powerful is that? Through aligned action repeated consistently. Let's remember our personal calendar. Our personal calendar is a mirror rather than a clock. I know everyone do have a personal calendar. I have one, and in one of my previous episodes, I spoke about the importance of a calendar, and every appointment, every task, and reminders revealed where energy are truly going. So when you circling 3 time wasters and replacing them with focused, meaningful block of progress, that redefines productivity. It does. Like when you go into your calendar, any area where you see time wasters, you want to replace that with something that is focused, meaningful, which will help redefine productivity. The encouragement is this. Review the schedule not for how full it is, but how aligned it is. Replace distraction with direction. Replace motion with meaning, because success does not require more time. It only requires more truth about how it is used. And that's what it is. How meaningful are you going to make this? How meaningful are you going to make it? Let's go to question 4. Is it really about being broke or about finding new ways to be resourceful? Most underestimate their creativity. And it's unfortunate. Most people do. Most people do not know how powerful they are. They just underestimate their creativity. Everything isn't required to begin. Everything is not required. Progress starts by working with what's available. The progress starts by working with what is available. Broke or being broke is not a destiny. We cannot claim that. Being broke is not a destiny. Being broke is just a season. It's not a lifetime sentence. It isn't a life sentence. It is a test of innovation. Many waits for ideal condition, for the funding, for the team, or the permission to begin. But greatness rarely begins with abundance. It begins with adaptation. It begins with adaptation. Resourcefulness is the muscle that develops when circumstances are tight. When the tools are limited, imagination refines. When tools are limited, imagination refines. When access is restricted, creativity expands. Every visionary and every builders and every innovators once faced lack, but they built anyway. They kept moving anyway. They saw limitation not as confinement, but as a catalyst. As a catalyst. So you know what? Excuses will claim. This is what excuses claim. I can't start until I have everything. That's what excuses are saying. But strategy respond. Start with what's here and multiply it. Start with what you have and multiply it. That's what strategy will tell you. But history is filled with stories of leaders who begins with little more than belief and resourcefulness. And remember, resourcefulness is a vision. Resourcefulness is a skills. Resourcefulness is a small network or a single idea. Every limitation became a classroom. Every teaching efficiency, resilience, and creativity. Those who maximize what's already within reach never stay broke for long because they maximize what they have. They multiply what they have. So they never stay broke for long. The question is it really about being broke or about finding new ways to be resourceful? This aligns with strategize in my success formula. Strategy is about finding ways. Strategy is about finding the solution, create the plan to find the solution, to remedy, to mitigate, to create a mitigation. Strategy isn't the process of having more, it's the discipline of doing more with less. That's what it is. Excuses will say, I can't afford to. Strategy asks, how can it be made possible anyway? How can it be made possible anyway? A strategic thinkers see opportunity in what others overlook. They don't wait for ideal condition. They design them anyway. Resourcefulness is a strategy in motion, transforming limitation into leverage, insufficiency into structure, and uncertainty into momentum. So therefore, if you're listening and watching wherever you are, I want to encourage you to write down 5 assets already within reach. Write down 5. This could be a skills refined through experience, a relationship built over time, knowledge gained through study, or tools already owned, or simply passion. Just a passion. This energy that cannot be bought, but drive everything forward. That's what it is. Activate one asset within this week. And guess what? What will happen is vision become re-energized. A project is launched. A skills applied in a new way. Action creates a reaction of progress. Action creates a reaction of progress. Momentum begins not with abundance, but with awareness. Momentum begins not with abundance, but with awareness. So the encouragement is this: wherever you are, take an inventory of all the existing assets, recognize the value, apply one now. The act of resourcefulness is a catalyst that turns insufficiency into strategy and strategy into success. Because greatness doesn't come from what you owned, it comes from what is used. Greatness comes from what is utilized. Greatness comes from what is applied. We talk about the input and the output strategy. Whatever you input into the system will be multiplied in your output. Question 5. Why is consistency the real difference maker? Why is consistency the real difference maker? Consistency separates the dreamers from the doers. Most goals don't fail because they are different. They fail because impatience takes over. Most goals fails because impatience takes over. The universe celebrates beginnings and endings, the launch and the victory laps. But greatness lives in the middle. The hustle is quiet and rarely applauded. Excuses often wear the mask of impatience. This is what excuses will claim. It's not working. Maybe this isn't for you. Or maybe this isn't for me. This is what the excuses will tell you because it's wearing the mask of impatience. The truth is this, everyone. Consistency can feel boring, but what feels boring builds brilliance. What feels boring builds brilliance. It's the unseen practice, the small step, the silent progress that transform ordinary effort into extraordinary mastery. Those small steps, the silent progress that transform ordinary effort into extraordinary mastery, every repetitive is a vote for the future being built, a vote for the future being built. This question aligns perfectly with execute in my success formula. Excuses will cripple your execute. Excuses cripple execute. Momentum multiplies only through repetition. Momentum multiply only through repetition. Execution isn't glamorous, it's discipline repeated until excellence becomes automatic. Consistency doesn't demand perfection, but it demands presence. Each consistent action compounds like interest, quietly turning effort into expertise. And that's what it does. That's what consistency do. This is a motivational statement, and I want you to listen to this very carefully. I want you to listen to this very carefully. This is a motivational statement. When consistency becomes identity, success becomes inevitable. Progress is no longer force. Progress flows. I'm going to repeat that again. When consistency becomes identity, success becomes inevitable. Progress is no longer force. It will just flow. It will just flow. Progress will flow. It will flow. Question number 6. Bounce back from setback or use them as permission to stop. Bounce back from setbacks or use the setback as permission to stop. Resilience means rising faster each time. Excuses, once again, turn setbacks into permanent stories. Excuses enjoying it's enjoying turning setbacks into personal stories. Every great journey will include resistance. We cannot escape that. It's going to happen. There's always going to be resistance. Every great journey includes resistance, but everyone encounters impact or encounter disappointment, rejection, failure, or loss. Yes, we are going to encounter those things, but the difference lies in your respond. How do we respond? Excuses turn temporary trials into permanent identities. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, or I guess I'm just unlucky. That people say those things. People actually say those things. I guess I'm just unlucky. Or maybe my dream is not going to come true. I should just stop. No, but a champion, and I truly believe that we are all a champion. This is what champions do. Champions analyze setbacks differently. Winners analyze setback differently. For every champion, each setback becomes a mirror, reflecting what still needs refinement. Every comeback gathers data. That's my scientific skills that's been incorporated. I truly believe in data analysis. Every comeback gather data or data for some. What failed, what worked, what needs adjustment. Each fall offers feedback, not finality. Each setback offers feedback, not finality. True growth doesn't come from avoiding adversity, but from observing its lesson. You observe the lesson from the setback. Pain becomes a classroom for evolution. The strongest leader, businesswomen, athletes, creators, and visionaries all share one trait: the ability to convert adversity into alignment. The ability to convert adversity into alignment. The question isn't will challenges come, but what will be built because of them? What will be built because of them? A setback is never the end of the story. It's not. A setback is never the end of the story. It is an invitation. It's an invitation to rewire the setback with more wisdom, more strength, and more clarity. Every challenge contains coded instruction for improvement. I truly believe that. Every challenge contains coded instructions for improvement. Every obstacle hides an opportunity to elevate. This question aligns with adapt in my success formula. Adaptation will convert pain into performance. Adaptation will convert mistakes into mastery. Adaptation will convert adversity into evolution. Adaptation will energize and elevate progress. Adaptation will energize and elevate progress. Resilience is not resistant to pain, it's the transformation of pain into power. Resilience is the transformation of pain into power. Flexibility is strength disguised as motion. So, an organization or a person that learn to bend without breaking always returns stronger. Perfection is breakable. Adaptation is indestructible. I'm going to repeat that again. Perfection is breakable. Adaptation is indestructible. So therefore, instead of surrendering setback, reflection replace reaction. So the question changed from why did this happen to what is this trying to teach? Think about that. Why did this happen to what is this trying to teach? The answer will show blind spots, new strategies, and hidden strengths. That particular moment, reshape the understanding of progress. The comeback was never about returning to where things were. It was about rising above where things had been. That's the comeback. You come back, you are much stronger, and you're rising above where things had been. Listen carefully to this, everyone. I want you to listen to this very carefully. Each setback represents a bridge from struggle to strength. The next elevations begins where excuses end and adaptation begins. Question 7. Is motivation often confused with commitment? And this is the last question. Is motivation often confused with commitment? See, motivation is a feeling. Commitment is a decision. Feelings do change. Decision define destiny. That's it. Motivation is a feeling. Commitment is a decision. Feelings change. Decision defines destiny. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for perfect weather before stepping outside. The progress stops when effort depends on emotion, when effort depends on motivation. You see, motivation is a catalyst. Commitment is the engine. So excuses flourish in emotion. Just remember that. Excuses flourish in emotion. Example, I'm not in the mood. That's one example. Or maybe later, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. This is what excuses flourish in emotion. But commitment, however, moves regardless of the mood. That is what separates temporary passion from enduring excellence. When emotion fades, commitment sustains movement. The most resilient achievers operate from decision and not desire. That's how they operate. The most resilient achievers to operate from decisions and not desire. So referring to the question, is motivation often confused with commitment? This belongs to energize in my success form. This belongs to energize in my success form. Real energy. Let's talk about real energy, for instance. When we talk about real energy, not just energy, because energy is everywhere. We got the unreal energy, we got the real energy, we got the positive energy, we got negative energy. But real energy doesn't come from hype or temporary excitement. No, it comes from purpose driven commitment. Motivation can start the fire, but commitment keeps the fire burning when the wind blows. Yes, motivation is good. It can start the fire, but a motivation without commitment is not going to take you to the end of the race. But commitment keeps the fire burning when the winds blows. Excuses will drain your energy because excuses are energy spent negotiating with oneself. It's just an energy you spend negotiating. Whereas a commitment will conserve energy by creating rhythm and flow. Once the action becomes consistent, energy will regenerate through progress. That's it. Once the action becomes consistent, energy regenerates through progress. So whether writing a page or reading a few lines or finishing a brief workout, the power came from present and not perfection. The power came from present and not perfection. So therefore, over time, confidence replaced uncertainty and momentum became natural energy. That's what's going to happen. Over time, confidence will replace uncertainty and momentum will become your natural energy. This is the encouragement. I want you to choose one discipline and honor it daily. When decision replaces emotion, your purpose becomes power. So those are the 7 questions. So what I want to do right now is, now that the cloud of excuses has cleared and the direction becomes visible, because once excuses lose oxygen, momentum take over. Once the excuses is suppressed, momentum take over. And what we just did by listening to this episode, we just suppresses every single excuses, and now momentum has taken over. So what I want to do is I want to revisit the success formula, not as a theory, but as a blueprint for action. I'm going to begin with clarity. Clarity destroys excuses that cloud vision. When clarity returns, control follows. Remember that. Clarity is the foundation of every decision, and clarity is the antidote to confusion. Clarity transforms I don't know into I'm learning what matter most. I'm learning what matter most. That's clarity. Now, let's move on to strategize. Strategize destroy excuses that paralyze planning. Destroy excuses that paralyze planning. Strategize. Always build the plan anyway. Strategize isn't about having perfect condition. It's about creating direction when none exists. The question changes from can it be done to how can it be done? That's strategize. Can it be done to how can it be done? Execute. Execute also destroy excuses that stop the motion. Excuses that stop motion. Action ignites transformation. Every step, every checklist, every disciplined repetition compound your power. It compound power. Progress arrives in layers, not in jump. It is a step-by-step motion. Energize. Energize destroy excuses that drains spirits. Protect your energy like capital. Rest, nutrition, mindset, community are not luxury. They are leadership tools. We need to rest. We need to put good nutrients into our body, have a growth mindset, and building a strong community are all leadership tools. The mind performs best when the body and purpose are aligned. And lastly, adapt. Destroy excuses that resist change. Flexibility facilitates forward motion. Flexibility facilitates forward motion. When the environment changes, adaptation turns setback into progress. When the environment changes, adaptation will turn setback into progress. Each time an excuse is eliminated, the formula, the success formula, multiply in power. Clarity fuels strategy. Strategy empowers execution. Execution sustain energy. Energy enable adaptation. And together, you put all this together, they create unstoppable momentum. Let's amplify this message with a quick dose of real inspiration. Think of every students, think of every teachers, think of every doctors, every lawyers, think of every inventors and entrepreneurs, motivators and innovators. Each face resistance, each face doubts, yet they made one defining choice. They refuse to let circumstances dictate their destiny. Talent did not separate winners from the quitters. Ownership did. Ownership is what separates the winners from the quitters. Ownership. Ownership says, this is my race. This is my responsibility. Excuses hand away power, but ownership reclaim the power. Excuses hand away the power, but ownership reclaim the power. The student who studied through fatigue, the founder who builds when inventors says no, the teacher who inspires a classroom with limited resources, the parents who keeps showing up day after day. These are the quiet warriors of momentum. They are the quiet warrior of momentum. Greatness is not built in noise. It's built in consistency. Excuses speaks loudly, but progress develops silently. Progress develops silently. Let's bring everything full cycle. Consensus or excuses? Which one truly stands in the way? Which one? Circumstances or excuses? Which one of those two are standing in our way? The moment that question is answered honestly, power returns. I want you to write down the top 3 excuses that keep your progress hostage. What are the top 3 excuses that keep your progress hostage? Then rewrite them. Rewrite each one as an action statement. Take each one of those excuses that you've identified and then rewrite them as an action statement. For example, I don't have time. That's an excuse. That can be rewritten as, I will schedule what matters. Another example, I'm not ready, which is an excuse, can also be rewritten as an action, I'm preparing as I go. Another example, I can't, which is an excuse, can be rewritten as an action, I'm learning how. I'm learning how. Every rewritten sentence is a transfer of power. From hesitation to action. From delay to decision. The life that is wanted is not waiting for perfect timing. It's waiting for a fearless decision. This is maximum momentum. No excuses. Just progress. Just purpose. Just motion. Always success. Always winning. Let's build. Let's create. Let's empower. I want to take this opportunity to personally thank you for joining me on the Akeem Adisa Show, Maximum Momentum. It's truly an honor and a privilege to have you be part of this growing movement and platform dedicated to empowerment, growth, and transformation. Your support means everything. Please subscribe, like, share, and follow the show across all platforms. The goal is to reach 1 million followers and subscribers by January 30th, 2026. You can stay connected and inspired by following me on Instagram, Twitter X, TikTok, and Facebook at Akeem Adisa Show, or click on the link in the description box. Watch and listen anytime on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Podcaster, and Pocket Casts. Together, we'll continue to push forward, grow stronger, and build maximum momentum. One episode, one action, and one victory at a time. Thank you.